Hi everyone, so I'm kind of new to this whole videotaping thing, but I thought it was appropriate because I wanted to share with you two of my goals for 2012. So the first is to run the Boston Marathon, yay! The second is actually to improve on my public speaking skills. So tonight I'm actually giving my second public speaking speech, I guess, in front of my Toastmasters group. So I joined something called Toastmasters, and the speech is to basically be able to organize your speech. It's called Organize Your Speech Project 2. So I am a new member and I still do read off of my notes still, so bear with me, but I thought I would share with you the speech I had prepared for tonight. And that's mainly because it has to do with the Boston Marathon. And I like to pick a topic I feel comfortable speaking about. It's just easier for me. But so here I go, if you bear with me. Okay. So Mike Finale, a running coach, once said, "I tell our runners to divide the race into thirds. Run the first with your head, the middle with your personality, and the last part with your heart." This is exactly how I intend to run the Boston Marathon in 18 days. So some people ask me, why run the Boston Marathon? Why run for a charity? Why run for Dana-Farber? The Boston Marathon is a race that elite runners and casual runners like myself can feel like a celebrity for a day. Boston is the world's oldest marathon and takes place on what many of us know as Patriots Day. Now, what state can boast that they have their own special, unique holiday? We can. So behind the Super Bowl, the Boston Marathon is the second biggest single-day sporting event in the United States. There are over 500,000 spectators that line the whole 26.2-mile course from Hopkinton to the Prudential Center in Boston, cheering on the runners. The race has athletes visiting from every state, and over 90 countries are represented. Just thinking about all of this excites me. I will be one of the 26,000 runners running in the Boston Marathon this year. So a lot of people have asked me, how did you get a spot in the Boston Marathon? Maybe it'll help if I explain a little bit on the different ways that you can actually qualify. So the first way is qualifying, which means that a runner within a year's time frame can prove that they can complete 26.2 miles within a certain time frame. So let's say I wanted to qualify for the Boston Marathon in 2013. In my age bracket, 18 to 34, I must actually run the Boston Marathon in 3 hours and 35 minutes. Now, just so you know, it was 5 minutes slower last year. So every year, the Boston Marathon gets more popular and the qualifying times get faster. Because the Boston Marathon is so popular, there's no guarantee you actually get a spot. So even if you make the qualifying time, the qualifying bib numbers go to the fastest runners first, and then whatever fills up, fills up. So the second way is to actually win a lottery. So a lot of running clubs are allotted a certain number of official entries by the Boston Athletic Association, also known as the BAA. And then a lottery is performed among all interested members. And depending on the number of eligible and interested members in the club, the chances of winning an official bib number can actually be slim. So the third and final way is to actually run for a charity. The Boston Athletic Association, or the organization that actually sets up the Boston Marathon, has partnered with a number of charities that recruit runner fundraisers. The BAA requires charity runners to raise at least $4,000 to be granted an official bib number. If you don't raise this, the BAA has the right to charge a credit card that they keep on file. This fundraising minimum seems to increase each year as the Boston Marathon gets more popular. Each charity may also encourage its runners to raise more than the amount required by the BAA. So there is actually one more unofficial way to run the Boston Marathon. I didn't mention it because the BAA doesn't quite sanction this method. These runners are called bandit runners. So what they do is they line up behind all of the official entry runners, and they will run purely just to have the experience of the Boston Marathon. It's estimated that about 2,000 bandit runners will complete the Boston Marathon every year. So how did I get a coveted spot in the 26,000 out of the 26,000 spaces that the Boston Marathon has? Running a marathon has always been a dream of mine, and running the Boston Marathon in particular. Though I've never run a race longer than 13.1 miles, so that's a half marathon distance, before I started training for the marathon. Each time I finished a half marathon, I would think, how the heck do people complete 2 of these back to back? I just don't get it. I really needed a cause greater than myself to help motivate me and complete a marathon. I thought that running for a charity would help motivate me during long runs and hold me accountable because donors would be sponsoring me to run for this cause. So this is why I decided to run for a charity, and specifically Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. When I was in college, my grandmother passed away from breast cancer, and I just remember her going through the treatments and how difficult it was for our family. I also have 3 aunts that were diagnosed with cancer, but we're so lucky that they are survivors today. Cancer is a cause that hits close to home for me and for many others. Cancer also will affect 1 in 3 people during some point during their lifetime. As I've been training and raising money for this cause, I've heard so many heartfelt stories, and believe me, they've gotten me through the 18, 20, 22-mile long runs on the weekend. And I just have to share, during one long weekend I just had recently, I was thinking about a story a stranger shared with me, and it got me really emotional during the run. She told me that her father was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer on December 15, 2009. He gave her away at her wedding on March 27, 2010, and passed away a little more than a week later. I want to run the Boston Marathon for my family members that have been afflicted by cancer, for her father, and for 50 other names I'm honoring on behalf of my donors on April 16th. Running the world's most famous race with thousands of spectators will undoubtedly be one of the best experiences of my lifetime, but it will take heart, like Coach Finelli described in the quote earlier, in order to finish 26.2 miles on Marathon Monday. I firmly believe if my heart's in the right place, my feet will follow, at least hopefully past the finish line. Thanks.